Hello, my name is Tracy Allen, and I want to welcome you to Cooking with Some Friends. Hello and welcome to Cooking with Some Friends. I am getting ready to put some Tuscan chicken on to cook. And so I'm heating my frying pan, and in that I am going to put about 3 tablespoons of the oil that comes off from the sun-dried tomatoes. So I'm going to put that in and let it heat just a second. While that's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and season my chicken, and it calls for 2 chicken breasts that have been filleted or cut in half. I'm using 4 chicken breasts because these are really thin chicken breasts. So I'm going to season those with a half a teaspoon of onion powder, half a teaspoon of paprika, half teaspoon of Italian seasoning, and then salt and pepper. So I just want to season my chicken with those, both sides. And when my oil is heated, then I'll go ahead and put these chicken breasts in there and cook them for about 3 to 5 minutes per side. And then I'm going to take those out of the pan and put them on a plate and tent that with foil while I make the sauce that goes over these. So let this come up to heat. The oil that I used was, like I said, off the sun-dried tomatoes, but I'm going to use those tomatoes as well, so they don't go to waste. I've got that about a medium-high heat. So I'm going to go ahead and let that brown on both sides for about 3 to 5 minutes per side, and then I'll come back and show you how I'm going to make the sauce. Okay, our chicken is browned up nicely, so I am going to go ahead and remove it from the pan. And I'm going to put mine on a baking sheet. You can just put it on a plate and tent it, or you can put it on a baking sheet like I'm doing and put it in a warm oven with the foil around it, just to make sure that chicken hits the right internal temperature. I'm going to lower the heat a little bit, and then I'll move on. I stuck our chicken in the oven. Now I'm ready to make the sauce. And to my pan, I am going to add about a tablespoon of butter. Let that melt. And to that I want to add garlic. And my sun-dried tomatoes. I just want to cook those for a couple of minutes. Get the flavors going. To this, I'm going to use that oil that's in there to make a roux, so I have some flour that I'm going to add to it. Stir that in and let that cook. And then I have 3/4 of a cup of chicken broth that I want to add, and this will help deglaze the bottom of that. Get all those flavors. At this point, I'm going to turn my heat back up just a little bit. Okay, add 3/4 cup of heavy cream. And I have just a little bit of Dijon mustard. Okay. And some Italian seasoning. And this is going to start to thicken up just a little bit. As it cooks, I can feel it thickening now. And once it starts to thicken just a little bit more, I have 1 cup of baby spinach that I chopped up. It's going to go in here, and I'm going to let that cook a couple of minutes. Cook 2 to 3 minutes, then I'm ready to add my chicken into the sauce. And then I am going to also add 2/3 cup of Parmesan before I add my chicken back in. Now you could also serve this Tuscan chicken over noodles. You could serve it with some potatoes. Okay, so I will let this cook a couple more minutes and then add my chicken back in, and then I'll show it to you plated. Tuscan chicken. Good evening and welcome to Cooking with Some Friends. I am putting on some loaded scalloped potatoes and making some Tuscan chicken tonight. The loaded scalloped potatoes I'm cutting the original recipe in half. So I've taken some potatoes and sliced those thin. I've browned some bacon and crumbled that. I sauteed some onion. And now I'm ready to make the roux that will be the sauce for our scalloped potatoes. So I'm melting the butter, and then I'm going to add flour to this. And I have 2 tablespoons of butter and 2 tablespoons of flour. And again, I'm cutting this in half, so it would normally be 4 and 4. So I want to cook that flour just so it loses that flour taste. And then to this, I'm going to add 1.5 cups of milk and some salt and pepper. Salt and pepper, and that's to taste. And these are just scalloped potatoes, a lot of times I'll make au gratin potatoes where I add even more cheese than what these have in them, but not tonight, since we'll have some Parmesan and stuff on our Tuscan chicken. So I want that to start to thicken. And like I said, I put half of my potatoes in my sprayed casserole. Then I'm going to put about half of the onion that I sauteed over that. And you can use up to a whole onion if you want to. We just are not that crazy about onion to do that. So, and then over that I want to put some of the bacon that I fried, about half of it. And then I'm going to use 8 ounces of cheddar cheese, so I'm going to put half of that over my potatoes now. And get the container open. And then I'm going to dump half of my sauce over, and then I'm going to repeat that. When I'm done doing that, I'm going to cover this with foil and put it in a 350-degree oven for about 30 minutes to an hour. And then I will remove the foil and let it bake a little bit longer to brown it up and get it bubbly. That will give me the opportunity to make our chicken. You don't want this to completely thicken up, but you can see it's a little bit thicker than it was, but it will continue to thicken when it combines with the starch in the potatoes as it bakes. About half of this over my potatoes. And then repeat the process. So I'll use the rest of my potatoes. The rest of my onion. Bacon. Make a mess with my cheese. And then finish with my sauce. Ready. I'll put this in the oven and show you what it looks like when it's done. Thanks for joining us for this session of Cooking with Some Friends. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And find us on Facebook at Cooking with Some Friends.